What's up, guys? Welcome back to Just a Guy on my lunch break. Baby's sleeping, so I thought I'd give like a quick update video. I'm on day 8 now, no Kratom. Um, Has something happen last night that is not really related to what I talk about on this channel, but it's just impacted me in a huge way, and kind of giving me stuff like what I'm about to tell you always kind of gives me some perspective on life and the fragility of life and stuff like that. And so we're eating dinner last night, and my 18-year-old son comes in. My wife fixed him a plate or whatever, sat it right here at the bar, actually, where I'm sitting now. And I was in the kitchen, cleaning up my plate and everything, and my son comes in and sits down, and I hear him from behind me say, I've got some really, really bad news. And, of course I turn to him immediately. I'm like, what happened? Everything okay? And he's like, my friend Ben. And I knew immediately who he's talking about, because this is my son is one of those one of those kids that has very few friends. It's because he chooses them very carefully. His mom and I both have done a good job, I think, of giving him kind of a sense of self and letting him know that everybody's not your friend. Everybody is not a good fit to be a friend for you. And if they're not adding to you and making you better and encouraging you, then, and if they're doing things that could potentially get you in trouble or that are bad for you potentially and stuff like that, then they're not really friends. So you choose friends carefully, basically. And he does a good job of that. And this kid, Ben, is one of the only kids that he's befriended since he's been living here with me in North Carolina. And this kid impressed me so much that I literally have spoken to my son when Ben wasn't around, saying that that's a good kid. He's always, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, thank you very much. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Just a really positive spirit, in the young man. And there's not many people that I pull my son aside and talk to him when they're not around and say, hey, you need to continue to be friends with that kid. I mean, to be completely honest, I was excited that he could wear off on my son. Some of the traits and characteristics that he had, just the talkativeness and being very open and just extremely polite, yes sir, no ma'am to his elders, and myself and my wife are elders. But I just love this kid. And my son sat down last night and he said, I have some really bad news. And he said, you remember Ben? I said, yeah. He said he passed away. And this kid's been over at my house multiple times, um, kickboxing and boxing out in the garage with my son. That's something that my son and we're all into. We have a punching bag out there and headgear, gloves, shin guards. We've got the whole 9 yards. And Ben used to come over and do that sort of stuff with Hayden. It's an interest that they shared together. And he's a tough kid too, very hardworking kid. We don't know what happened yet, but he was 17 years old. 17. A year younger than my son, my own son. So obviously it hit me harder. My son seemed to be handling it very well, and he kind of has the mind state of, me sitting here crying about it's not going to bring him back, and he's in a better place, he's with God, and this and that. And I didn't want to tell my son he was wrong for that, But I couldn't wait to get away from him and get in the room by myself so I could cry. Um, because this kid hasn't even started his life yet, you know, and I think about someone like him, such a kind spirited young man, and hardworking and just respectful to the core. Anytime I ever met him and was near him, I just could feel the respect and positive vibes just eking off of this kid, you know, at 17 years old. Um, he was about to start his senior year in high school. Um, and all of that has been snuffed out in an instant. Um, Life is fragile, guys. Life's very fragile. Um, and for me, it always is just when I hear something like this, especially when it hits so close to home, is always such a mega dose of perspective, you know. And I've had a lot of people that I've known in the past, people I went to school with, pass away. I'm older, of course, but still too young to, to have friends passing away, but it just happens, you know. And I've had ones that passed away way earlier in life, shortly after high school in their 20s, you know. Uh, but I just loved this kid, and I loved him for my son, you know, and I loved who he was to my son, and being one of the only friends that my son was willing to open up to and call him a friend, just because he's that good of a kid. Um, and, here I am, 48 years old, been through drug addiction, made plenty of horrible decisions in life, and then here's this kid who absolutely, had this not happened, would have been a successful individual. I mean, I can say that with 1,000,000% certainty. You just knew it about him, you know. You could just tell it about him. And, somebody like me to be here still sucking air after everything that I've done and been through. And then for a child, 17 years of age, to lose his life. It's it's hard to put into words, you know. And as a parent, of a son who is very close to the age of this young man, it hit me. It hit me harder than maybe it did my son, even. Because I just, I started thinking about what his parents might be going through, and I just, I can't even put it into words, you know, my concern for them, and I just being an empath the way I am, I can just only imagine the kind of anguish and turmoil and just how defeated and saddened they must feel. I didn't know his parents. I never actually met his parents. The kid himself, I met him a lot, quite a few times. Hug your loved ones, you know. Tell your kids that you love them. Tell your spouses that you love them. Any friends that you have, give them a hug. Tell them you love them. You never know when your last day here is going to be. And that was an ever-present fact that just kind of hit me like a ton of bricks last night. And as a 48-year-old man, it's not as though I haven't thought about it before, but it just really affected me, and I just wanted to drop a word to you guys that there's a mortal, finite nature of life, and none of us know when our last day is going to be. So use your time wisely to better yourself, to do better things, to stand close to those that you love and that love you, family, friends. Um, don't let a day go by without telling how much you love them and how much you appreciate them. Because I'm looking at my son now, and I know he hasn't seen Ben in a few weeks, and I know that he didn't get to say goodbye to him, and I didn't either. Um, Sorry, guys. Love all of you. Have a great weekend.